We do have some breaking news that we've been watching for the last couple hours here, and the backup has just been building. The video you're seeing right now is flames and smoke after a fatal crash, and it's closed all lanes of I-69 in Hamilton County near Cynthia Ann Road in Noblesville.
And that was video around 3:15 when that crash was fully engulfed. You can see here, we know several vehicles and maybe even trucks were involved in this. Fishers police called this a multiple vehicle crash.
So here's a look at the scene right now. Things are looking a lot calmer, but that's because things are kind of stopped in both directions at one point. We were told this closure could last for several hours. They have cleared all the drivers that were in that initial backup. They were able to turn around somehow in the street and get off on a different exit, but those lanes are expected to be closed for the foreseeable future, we were told.
Right, and how long that will be, no one knows. Let's get over to Lindsay, who has been tracking some alternate routes, because Lindsay, having no idea, and this being really one of the main thoroughfares into downtown, wow, this is going to be a big benefit here to get some alternatives.
Yeah, exactly. So let's take you up to where the southbound lanes of I-69 are being diverted off here at State Road 13. This is going to be traffic coming into the city. If you are coming in a little farther north than State Road 13, that's the recommended alternate route. Pop off on State Road 38, take State Road 13 down over to 146th Street, where you just saw traffic being diverted off the interstate. That is State Road 13, or that lapel exit. You can then continue on 146 down to Oleo Road and then wind your way back around Southeastern Parkway to re-enter 69 South right there at that on and off ramp system. That's where the interstate reopens. I wanted to show you what it looks like as well, where they're diverting traffic in the opposite direction on 69 North. This is at Campus Parkway, Southeastern Parkway, that junction at Hamilton Town Center. Obviously, all lanes still closed. So traffic is being pushed off the interstate here, and my recommended alternate route would be the southbound direction. Take Southeastern Parkway, because 136th Street, it's actually still closed here. So you're going to have to go a little farther south, then take Cynthia Ann Road a little north over to 126th, and then you can re-enter 69 northbound right there at State Road 13. Again, no estimated time on when they're going to clear the scene of that crash and wrap up that investigation. So we'll continue to keep you posted there with the diversions and your alternate routes, Matt.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be pretty busy around Hamilton Southeastern schools this morning. If you're a Royal, give yourself extra time. Traffic's going to be heavy. The clouds are kind of heavy this morning. They're real low to the ground. They're not on the ground, so we can still see for the most part, but they're low enough that they're giving us some fine mist and drizzle. In fact, their sensor there at the Indianapolis airport thinks it's raining because there's just this fine mist that's going on. You may have to turn the windshield wipers on every 2 or 3 minutes. There's really not a setting for it, but we are watching the visibility, and notice when you go way off towards the west, there is more fog. There are clear skies way out towards the west. We have the low clouds, though, that are over us, and they're going to stay over us for much of the morning. I do think, though, by about lunchtime and into the afternoon, clouds will gradually be breaking up. Right now, we've got a good mix of 30s and 40s north of Indy. Right now in Indy, we're right at 40. Same in Carmel and Fishers and Greenfield. Good morning in Richmond, it's 42. 42 in Bloomington and in Bedford. So mild for January standards, but my goodness, that low cloud deck is thick. It's like a blanket this morning. It'll break, though. And then coming up, I'm going to let you know, Julia, when 2 storm systems will head our way here later this week.
Matt, thank you. Well, new this morning, Metro Police tell us a woman was critically injured after a shooting on Indy's near northeast side.
We've learned this from a police report. A little limited details right now, but police say they reported a shooting around 11:45 last night on 34th Street. Here's where this happened, a couple blocks west of Keystone. That's where police found that woman who'd been shot.
Now, at last check, the victim was still in critical condition. It's still unclear what led up to the shooting or if anyone's been detained or arrested in the incident. We'll, of course, stay up to date on this story and bring you the very latest. Well, today is the deadline to file bills in the House, and lawmakers have been busy all week.
One proposal at the Statehouse would eliminate elections for hundreds of county officials and actually replace who does their job altogether. Marina Silva is here in studio sharing this resolution, plus the reaction we're already hearing from folks who would be impacted by this. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. Well, everyone from the county treasurer to the county coroner. That's what House Joint Resolution number 2 appears to propose. The resolution would amend the state constitution and upend county government here in Indiana. It would eliminate elections for 460 positions across the state. We're talking positions like auditor, recorder, treasurer, surveyor, and coroner in each county, no longer picked by the voters. Now, as the Constitution, this is what the Constitution currently requires. Instead, the resolution would shift responsibility for those jobs to the county executive. So in most places, that's the county commissioner. Here in Marion County, that's the mayor. The mayor and county coroner worries about losing voters' voices in choosing officials at the ballot box.
Oh, initially I thought, well, we conduct over, just in Marion County, 3,000 death investigations. And as a county executive, is that really possible for the county executive to just simply take over the coroner duties and responsibilities? And I thought, not. That doesn't make much sense.
13 News reached out to the resolution's author, Republican Elizabeth Rowe Ray, to get clarity on the resolution. She didn't grant an interview, but did release a statement saying it's about efficiency and flexibility, that this would, quote, give counties the option to consolidate certain duties under the county executive if they choose to do so locally, end quote. Now, county officials say the wording doesn't match and question the whole resolution. So this is something we're watching over at the Statehouse.
Yeah, big if on that is kind of confusing. Thank you, Marina. Your time is 6:06. Criminals sentenced to death in Indiana may get a choice about how they're executed.
Yeah, this one is a strange one. So 2 bills just filed this session propose using a firing squad, and one of those bills was heard in committee yesterday. So right now, executions are carried out using lethal injection in Indiana, but state officials have acknowledged the limited supply of drugs used in that process, and that's due in part to the cost and the short shelf life.
This is a bill proposed by Senator Mike Young. It did not move forward, but it could still happen. So Young says the committee suggested some changes about how the firing squad would work. Advocates against the death penalty, though, say it's not a solution at all.
We're not going to tie their hands to it. We'll say, here are your options.
It's macabre to say to somebody, we're going to kill you, but we're going to let you decide how we're going to do it. That's something from a grade B horror movie.
That was Robert Dunham with a group called Death Penalty Policy Project, and he points out the last time an Indiana jury imposed the death penalty was in 2013. And right now, there are 5 prisoners on death row in the state.
Well, this morning, the Indiana Black Legislative Caucus is outlining its priorities for the 2026 session.
And caucus members say it all comes down to the cost of living as one of the top things on their list. They call this plan their Working Families Winning Futures agenda. And it includes reining in things like the price of housing, utilities, health care, and child care.
Whether it's sky-high utility rates, affordable childcare, or a housing market that often feels impossible to navigate, there are countless problems that we need to solve so that we help Hoosiers not just survive, but make sure that they thrive.
Legislators are finalizing session plans this week. The deadline to file those bills in the Senate is Friday. And we're happy to report this morning Indiana Representative Jim Baird is out of the hospital and recovering after a car crash in D.C. His office tells us his wife, Denise, is still receiving care in the hospital, but is also recovering. I want to show you a picture of Baird as he left at his home, giving a thumbs up there. You can also see that he has a neck brace on. A spokesperson says Baird is expected to make a full recovery. The Baird son says someone hit his father's car and then left the scene. He says police are now searching for that driver. Baird represents Indiana's 4th District.
Oh, this was big for Hoosier fans of free-for-all, bringing out thousands of IU fans to Assembly Hall. The home of Hoosier basketball became the home of Hoosier football frenzy for a few hours.
The lines are crazy. It's stretched out the door around the building. And it was just so people could get their hands on very limited edition gear ahead of the Peach Bowl, one of those being a rally towel and then those posters that are kind of becoming infamous there in Bloomington.
The Hoosiers head out for Atlanta today, so if you're heading out soon too, you can use your rally towel on your way to the airport or just cheer them on at home. They'll be in a new venue, but it's a familiar opponent though.
Yeah, as the Hoosiers find themselves in a rematch with Big Ten foe Oregon. IU left Eugene with the win back in October during the regular season, 30-20. And we have a look at practice last night. So last night we talked with some of the Hoosier defensive line players telling us they are focusing on what's next, taking this historic season one game at a time.
I think it's more about us and making sure we're doing the things that make us a special team and a defense than it is about, being worried about the other team. They're a great team, but I think if we're on, high alert for all of these things, we'll be better prepared and better going into it Friday.
The IU-Oregon rematch is Friday night at 7:30. The winner will face whoever wins the Fiesta Bowl. That semifinal is tomorrow night between Ole Miss and Miami.
And the national title game is coming up on January 19th. Before we get there, though, we've got you covered every step of the way during and after the Peach Bowl. Dom and Eli already packed up. They're in Atlanta right now with our sports crew ready to bring us so much coverage.
Yes, and you will be able to see them during our newscast starting this evening, as well as a special that begins tonight at 6:30 on WTHR Plus. And our Samantha Johnson, she's also headed to Atlanta for the Peach Bowl to show you the experience for fans.
So she'll have live coverage starting tomorrow morning right here on 13 Sunrise. Still ahead for you this morning, we are tracking the latest developments out of Venezuela and an update on the soldiers that were hurt during Saturday's operation to capture Venezuela's leader.
And you can't miss it. Westfield continues to grow. Coming up, how you can get involved in the conversations of a new joint plan with the City Council and the school board.